here.
They should
Yeah.
that out. Yeah,
I think we can still approve it and then we can just get the other ones. It's not like we're gonna go with somebody else.
Okay, good enough to start.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna get started with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You could go there.
I know, you messed us up.
Sorry, Miss.
All right, this meeting is called to order. We'll start with a roll call. Michelle,
Here.
Annie.
Here.
Brett. Here. Justin and Tim. Okay. Does everyone have a chance to read over the agenda?
You guys want any changes?
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion is made to approve the agenda as written, seconded by Annie. Is there any further discussion on this? Those in favor? Those opposed?
I'll move to approve minutes.
I don't know why. I'll second.
A motion has been made to approve the minutes of February 13th by Brett, seconded by Annie. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Those opposed? Those abstained?
I'll move to approve appropriation ordinance 1504.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to approve the appropriation ordinance 1504 by Brett, seconded by Michelle. Is there any further discussion? We'll take a roll call vote. Michelle,
Yes.
Annie,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
passes 3-0.
And
this-
maybe.
At this time, do we have any public concerns or comments? Anybody that's here tonight want to discuss anything?
That would include anybody who's not on the agenda who may have a question for
I
council.
do. I would like to. I talked to you guys at the end of last season or in the middle of last season anyway about the beer cooler out there at the lake. How bad it was. It's very loud. The motor's about to go out and the doors fall off the hinges. So I'd asked about purchasing a new one. I looked it up today and I found one for at Home Depot that's a 34.4 cubic foot refrigerator. It's $1,872.50. And that was about the cheapest one that I found.
Can you say that price again? Sorry.
It was $1,872.50.
Just curious, did you happen to check with the lumberyard, see if they can get one for you?
They don't.
They don't sell appliances.
No, I know they don't sell them, but they might have a connection where they can get
We
one.
don't have a connection to get appliances.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Jerry. Okay,
So I did not. I just looked it up on the internet and
okay.
the one that's out there, I mean, you could probably resell it to somebody that knew how to refurbish them. But
I'd be more inclined to get something secondhand just because those things lose their value so quickly. I mean, you can find good fridges for a couple $100. That's
where would I look for that? For like
Yeah.
a dump, because I need like the clear doors.
Isn't there a restaurant supply out at
that-
Forbes Field?
Yeah, it's for the beer cooler. So
that kind of, okay, like
Like the product cooler.
I gotcha.
yeah, it's like what the milk's in over at the grocery store.
Okay. I just figured that price was like I didn't know they sold those.
No, that's a pretty reasonable price. I know Dolly gave almost $6,000 for that one over there at her place. And
Yeah.
they're expensive.
For brand new, that is.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't know you were talking about the merchandising kind. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
But there is a
Yeah, it's
restaurant
different.
supply, I believe, out at Forbes Field as well. Could always check there to see what they might have.
Okay,
I mean, it's a thought.
okay.
But regardless, I think by April 1st, we've got time to look around and see if we can't get you one before then.
Okay. Great, that's all I'm wondering.
Anybody else?
All of us.
All right, department reports. Looks like we're starting with Diane Turnbull, who's in charge of our insurance policy department.
Thank you. There's a page of information. Can I come up here and
Sure.
I can see you and you can kind of see me. The renewal for the policy comes up the 1st of April, and this is the quote. And then there will be some changes to the quote. But I thought it was a good time to just kind of give you a little background and then what those changes need to be on it. And if you look on that first page at the top, that gives you the total that you spent last year on the expiring policy. And the renewal premium then was the $49,000. And then about midway, you bought the new 2022 truck. We added that, so that's about 6 months. So for starters, there's where you were last year. Okay, the next one is the one that is the renewal policy with the $56,000 premium. Property limits have increased. Also, there are deductible changes going right along with the market now. So wind and hail has on property has gone to $5,000, and every other peril stays at $1,000. And with that, there's a rate decrease in the coverage. 5,000, I was actually kind of pleased at, because some of our bigger accounts have got 25,000 on wind and hail for a deductible. So this didn't look too bad to me when I got it in. Just as a little refresher course, the buildings, which is where we're seeing most of the increase, the buildings are on 2 blankets, and I'll explain that in just a second. Blanket number 1 is everything that goes with the water treatment plant that's listed here. And then the bandstands on it, because we insured it a couple years ago when it was finished for the full replacement. I'm going to come back to 105 Main Street, which is the grocery store. That's one of the things that we'll do. Blanket, and that is a replacement type coverage. So it would not be depreciated in the payment of a loss. Ultimately, you would be paid as long as you replaced it, whether it be personal property that goes along with all of the water system that's insured, or not. You'd have to replace it to get the replacement cost.
What kind of peril qualifies for that, and does the condition it's in trigger a payout of this policy? Is there any way it could be construed as that? Yes.
The condition, we're going to talk about condition on one thing,
Okay.
but the condition, the peril, it's on a special form coverage. So it's covered unless it's excluded. Now, maintenance issues are not covered. Maintenance issues are never. These are insurances for accidents or, storms, that type of thing. So
It's just crazy seeing the number here of what it's
yeah,
worth.
and that is what it's worth. And then the second one is an actual cash value, meaning that those items that are insured there are insured at actual cash value, and that is replacement cost less depreciation depending on how old they are. And you can see we've got some of the older buildings on there. The way a blanket works, if you're not familiar with it, if you look up at the top where it's just lists blanket number 1, blanket number 2, you've got 6 million plus on blanket number 1 and 492,000, which will change when the policy is issued. So the reason that you write it on a blanket is each item within that blanket has a statement of value as to 100% of, like on the replacement one, 100% of what it's estimated to replace it. But if any one of those items costs more to replace than what's listed for that one item, then you have up to the full blanket to cover it. And the easiest way to think, and the other one works exactly the same way, only you're going to actual cash value on it. The easiest way to explain it is if you've got 3 warehouses and each one's worth $1.5 million. So you got $4.5 million of value right there. On a blanket, you've got all, if you blanket all of them together at $4.5 million, and you have a loss to one, it's destroyed. And it costs $2 million to replace it. You're gonna get the $2 million to replace it instead of what it's listed at. If you have them scheduled by individual one, you're gonna get $1.5 million. So that's why they're blanketed.
Makes sense.
Now, the two things that we are going to have to do, well, one we're going to have to do. 105 Main Street is the grocery store. It is not insurable. It has deteriorated completely to the point, probably we should have done it sooner, but at that value, if there were something to happen over there, an adjuster's going to come in and look at that and probably think that there was misrepresentation in what the building was. So that building will not be insured for the building. We'll put on liability for a vacant building location. So if, I think we had it on there because it had been discussed, and I know it's being discussed again about what to do with it and what you're able to do with it. So if at such time the engineers determine what you can do and you can fund it, then it can be addressed at that time. And then probably put a builder's risk on it at that time as it gets improved. So that will come off, which will decrease the total blanket, but it'll still operate the same way. On the second blanket, the shop, and all of you know what the shop is like. It's a good solid building, but it's not worth this value, not at $162,000. It's currently insured for a little over $55,000 is what the value of it is. I used a farm estimator for farm buildings, which if you look at that building, that's what it is with one enclosed. It does have heat, took into account for all of that. And actually replacement cost is between $40,000 and $50,000. So we'll leave that at $55,000. So if you go on down and you take the original renewal premium, and these may be $1 or $2 off because I'm working with rates and so forth and dividing them out. So $25.86 is coming off of that for the grocery store. And then the shop will remain at $55,000, and that's another $716 off. So you're down to $53,000 on that. There will be some charge for the vacant building for the liability, but it's not an arm and a leg. It's not going to make a huge amount of difference. I do have a question though. We have continued to write police liability without having any kind of city police. And that's $750. This is up to you. We can continue it. If you know that you're not going to be doing anything with it, it can be deleted.
It can be added later if we
It
do.
can be added
Okay.
later if you do. So, that's something that you might want
That
to,
would be my preference. I mean, I'd rather not pay for something that we're not
well,
actively using, yeah.
because it can always be added if you decide, and how you want to handle that. So that would be my thought. There's no
Okay.
point in in paying for
What
what you,
if the county is dispatched on a city call? And does something? Is the
You
city
mean-
liable?
I'd say if you, I would think that if you call the county and it's county,
Officers?
officers, that, I mean, I don't see that as anything different. It's a municipality that they're responding to, but you're the attorney.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to say.
Well, if we've
for somebody-
advocated our responsibility of having, I shouldn't say it like that, but if we choose not to have a police department or what have you, then they are we're essentially served by the county at that point, I would think.
Yeah, and I think that's true. I was just wondering if $750 is a small price to pay for just a little extra coverage. But
Yeah.
it's probably an extreme circumstance. I'm just
But
saying.
it's, you guys make the decision. I do need to let them know this week, probably in a couple of days for sure. So they can go ahead and get the policy put together and stuff, but, that's up to you. I thought I might mention one thing. The policy that is written, it's with EMC Insurance, which has a municipal program. And their municipal safety group is what you're a part of. And because you're a part of that, if they have favorable loss ratios, then you, as a member of that group, will receive a dividend. And since 2011, you have received $48,053. And that's usually a check that comes, and again, it's not every year, but it's not a bad return. On the second page, and then I'll try to answer any questions you got. On the second page, I just literally did a real quick comparison of the renewal premium from 2022 to 2023, and then on the renewal that we've got now, which still includes the grocery store and the higher limit on the shop building. Most of the increase is in the property, and you've probably seen this in your homeowner's insurance. Actually, what you're looking at, even if you take into consideration the increase in the deductible, is about 8% increase, which is not bad right now with the way insurance is and with the way costs are. So, the majority of that, majority of the property is the water system, water treatment system, everything included, the water towers and everything. So, but I mainly wanted to just kind of run through it with you. I'll try to answer any questions. If it's something I can't answer, we'll find out. But we'll do those two changes that I mentioned, and then you can let me know what you want to do with the police liability.
And our current policy expires when?
April 1,
April 1st.
but I do need to get it ordered.
Sure.
If you have any questions later on, you can always find me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Stephanie.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I actually don't think I have anything. I think everything I was going to report on is on the agenda.
Brett, you're next with bids.
Yes.
I think everybody
I don't think is
has the bids in their packet. The first one was the extension for the beach wall in Colby at the lake.
Mhm.
With that added extra 36 feet, right?
Oh, I had that on the agenda. Okay, yeah, sorry. Did you say that already?
Yeah.
So yeah, he said, when I emailed him and asked him for a bid, he said, well, I'll just add it to this one. Obviously, the top one you guys have already approved. And he said you can just choose whether or not to accept or decline the new $6,100.
Yeah, last meeting, I think we wanted him to do this in writing type of bid instead of the email, so Um, I move to approve.
Go to get information, show me.
So the back.
Sorry, he's talking about the very
I'm
back.
not
He's
sure,
talking
I'm
about
just
a
trying to
Colby thing.
figure out how many linear
Yeah.
price per foot or whatever to see if it's going up or not. It's just my own curiosity.
I'll second.
I'm just, dry eyed today.
Here we have a motion to accept the new bid with the addition of the 36 feet of vinyl tiles by Brett, seconded, I believe, by Michelle. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any further discussion on this?
He was just doing a quick figure.
Pardon me?
Justin was doing a quick figure.
Okay,
Sorry, I'm slow.
that's all right. Let's get it out now
There's
before
also
we,
sidewalking. So yeah, okay, there's sidewalking. I can't really go apples to apples, but it looks like it has the potential to be cheaper, just kind of off the cut. So, all right,
and I guess the next question, the only question I would have on it is, do we have the money to pay for it? I mean, that we already had the previous bid on the swimming beach was based on last year's funds, right?
Right, because we had to
And it was-
redo the budget
new
for
year,
it.
But
new year, new budget.
so what I'm saying is that money has already been accounted for from last year, so we don't have to add it to this year's.
Correct.
Okay, so we're just adding the 6,113 to that. Just want to make sure everybody understands that.
And I did not bring Lisa's little treasury report.
Yeah, I didn't even.
I've got
No,
it.
she's not
Last
here
time, I
anyway.
guess.
She's next week, next meeting. She's first of the month.
Well, I know because it's first of the year, the money's in there, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right. Anybody else have any,
Before something else happens.
any further discussion on this? None? All right, let's vote. Those in favor of approving it? Those opposed? Passes.
The second bid that I have is for the north sidewalk to the park from Debater. I had him give me 3 bids. We had talked about a 5-year plan, so I asked him to do 3 different bids. One was for the north side of the park, and the other one was to cap the ice skating rink.
Wow, that was just we just wanted an idea of what it would cost.
Cap like
So-
level
And
down.
Level
right?
it down, yeah, so that
So
it's
then
not
Stephanie
Stephanie
that
just
much.
printed off all the bids.
That's
so
okay.
sorry.
Honestly. Yeah, that
Over and
was
beyond
just
the
like to grade it down so it doesn't hold water anymore.
Yeah.
So that was what the bid was there, just, and I asked him for that, like Andy said, just so we knew what we were looking at roughly. The other bid was it was for next year for like a 1 block on both sides of the street, replacement of sidewalk and curbs and gutters. When I initially looked at this, and I had briefly talked to Annie in Cedillo last week when I ran into her, I had questions about it because it was figured at a different square footage, but realized that he was going to be tearing out and hauling it all off, which we have been doing, which has kept our costs for the concrete every year down. So I would assume that we would do the same thing. We would tear it up and haul it off. That way it would keep our costs down, which will take that back down to the $750 per square foot instead of 11. Because when I got this and saw the 35,000, I was a little like, early. But
And where are the two, where are the,
yeah, I just had him do,
just two, random 2 blocks?
yeah,
Just
so
an
that we would
estimate.
know exactly what each side of 1 block would be. So that
So we can start
So really,
planning
So
just
out.
would
go
this be-
further.
Would this be the same cost doing downtown as opposed to doing 2 residentials?
Yeah, do that. 32, 750.
2 blocks downtown, 2 blocks residential?
Well, no, because
Well,
it's a different
sidewalks
size
wide.
sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
I mean,
what I
we could
wanted
get
to know
there,
what
we
we're
could
talking
take
about
it
here.
and work it
This is
backwards
just an
and find
estimate
out.
for 2 4-foot sidewalks plus a handicap ramp at each end.
Is that right?
So it's just to help us actually project plan. We'll probably need to get another quote for downtown.
Yeah,
so.
so
I mean, you could look at it as spending the same 35.2 and get about 47 square foot instead of 200, or you can look at it the other way. 200 times 750 be $24,000 instead of
Instead of the
35.
35, so it'd be 11,000 cheaper, which sounds much.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was just to get us going on a year plan further. And I think I said 7 year because that's how much time we have left, right, Stephanie? For the 1%, is it 7
did we
years?
pass that in 2020?
He thinks so.
Sunset for 10 years, is that right?
Should be.
So I'm thinking there's 7 years left, is what I told him. But we can revisit that. But the most important one is the $14,850 for the north side of the park this year, because that'll finish off all 4 sides of the park, and that project or part will be done. We are waiting for a bid for the creek because it will be going over top of some of that, which we'll get.
Yeah. So it's a 2-part project because we have to put culvert into that portion of the creek bed and dig it out and then make sure it's level, and then we'll do the sidewalk. So at this point, we're only quoting 1 sidewalk for this year, and then Mike's getting us the bid from Logan for the digging and all that work and culvert. Just so everybody knows, the stream through the park won't be filled in or anything. We're keeping it. We're gonna fix the irrigation issues with it. And then hopefully in the next year or 2 we'll have arch bridges, so we no longer have clogged up creek bed. And then we hope to line it as well. I don't know, like limestone. I'm not sure what we're lining it with, but to stop the erosion, so it stays pretty all the time and doesn't go traveling around the park. But yeah, to solve some of those water issues as well. But basically, the only part we're closing is along the side, the north side, and it'll go around that kind of corner. If you guys know it very well, I don't, off the top of your head, it'll go around that corner about like 4 feet, and then it'll open out again and be like normal. So just to clarify that, but yeah.
It'll still be side to side, so it'll be.
So the rest of it's not moving.
But it's gonna be a sidewalk without going into the street like the south side, is that correct?
Correct.
When it's done? Okay.
Yeah, it'll connect completely. That's the
Okay.
whole point of the work, extra work. So
And there are handicap ramps on this one, since there's already handicap ramps on the other side. It'll use the same thing, and this will be obviously 6 feet, not their normal 4 foot that we've been doing in the neighborhoods. But
is that a 6? Because that's a 6 too.
So we're gonna wait on a decision to approve or anything of this nature until after we get the other bid for the.
I think we could approve the sidewalk because I mean we're gonna work on it regardless. But it's up to you guys, I guess.
When will work start if we approve it?
I don't know. He said it's really I mean, it's a weather thing. He's got to go off what his back weather. So, and obviously we have to get the other part done before we can put the sidewalk down. So,
If
in
we-
a perfect world, I would hope to have it done before the Symphony in the Flint Hills, which is the
10th,
10th.
June 10th. That was my concern too. I don't want them tearing up the
yeah,
place.
and
with
we'll consider all that.
7,000
So,
people estimated to come through here on that
Once we
day.
get the bid from them and
yeah,
we can get a time frame figured out, we'll make the decision if it's gonna happen before or after. Because like I said, we don't want to tour up for that part, for that event or whatever, but.
What can I task the 2 of you to work on that, such as you getting the bid from Debater and you getting with Mike to push him along to get the.
yeah, it's my fault really that it's
Well,
not.
I'm not
midnight.
I'm not pointing fingers.
No,
just
I
want
mean he
cooperation
got
to
it.
get
I
done.
just didn't get it in time. That's
Okay. And then you can let us know in 2 weeks.
all. Okay.
We can put them both back on there.
Let's table this discussion. We'll put it on the agenda for 2 weeks from now. Okay. All right, anybody else have any questions? Justin, you started to say something about that.
I was just gonna, I think you probably said, and it just flew
Right.
right over my head, but how wide was the sidewalk gonna be on the north side?
They're all 6 foot on the outside.
Okay, cool.
On the outer part.
Okay.
And then we'll have like a 4 foot go through later.
Ray, you mentioned something about a handicap ramp. Are you talking about on that side, up on the north side?
No, well, what I said was is that we wouldn't need a handicap ramp this year with the north side because we've already had those ramps installed on the east and west side, which that's gonna connect to, so we wouldn't need another two for this portion. Which means, because every time that we've done a side, we've had to do handicap ramps, but this time we're getting out of having to do any, because those are like
They cost-
$2,500.
We have a handicap ramp on the Main
On
Street
both
side
sides,
right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay, we're gonna put this under continuing business for 2 weeks from now. Fair enough? Do we need a motion or anything, Todd, or just let it go?
Good.
We're good. Okay.
And we can take off the Colby bid out of the other and continuing, so there's one thing struck.
Don't celebrate yet.
Now we're looking at purchase requests and work orders. It's not on the agenda, but I think I saw something in the packet. did
Yeah, I
not?
guess that should be up under there. Sorry. It's on the agenda, but yeah, it's the lake mower bid.
Okay, we'll cover it when we get down. We'll cover that at that point we get down there. Okay, next up is new city business. 204 and 206 Cedar Circle. It says Cedar Circle Dock, but that's not correct?
No,
It's Cedar
it's-
Circle Drive or
sorry.
something like that?
Yeah,
Are those folks here tonight?
I mean, I think I just.
I
put
am.
the dog on the diving board.
Hi, we recently purchased them.
Okay,
I understand that the dock with diving board is not technically, I guess, permitted as an oversized dock. We were just wondering if we could get everyone to reconsider the judgment placed last meeting. If we could pay for an oversized dock to keep that diving board.
Tough.
We didn't install it, we didn't know. We bought it that way. We just thought we'd see if we could get one more vote.
I think the issue is not the fact that it's past the dock so much, but the fact that it's gonna be a possible safety hazard with other boat traffic in that area. In fact, it's all around the lake.
On that, it's my understanding that boats are supposed to be 100 feet from the shoreline. That's what I learned in boater safety.
Well, that won't apply at Lake Wabunsee because we don't have 100 feet between houses in some of those coves.
I think.
Yeah.
So at that meeting about this dock, it was said that they could take 4 feet off of the size of the dock,
Mm-hmm.
and that would make it legal
Compliant.
size compliant, yeah. Or take the diving board off, one or the other, and that would put it in the 24 by 20. Thank you.
And is it possible to move the diving board back onto the dock so it can still be,
I
you
don't
can
know,
still
that would be
spring off of
safe.
it? Well, I've seen people do that. I've
I
seen,
mean, the whole
docks like
whole
that.
overhang is 4 feet. In
Right.
order to do that, you'd have, the diving board wouldn't be hanging over the dock at all.
right. But it has like a fulcrum type setup on it and they can still spring off of it.
Oh,
I don't think it would.
I mean, you'd have to get a brand new different diving board, is I think what Terry's saying you do. So you could either take 4 feet off the dock or remove the diving board.
So is the issue safety?
It's the size.
Or because, yeah, last week it was, or in the published meeting minutes, it was about the oversized, not safety. That wasn't mentioned in the last.
Oh, I mentioned the safety at the last meeting
It
about
was.
it as well as the size. What we're getting into is basically we have a restriction of 24 by 20 foot and everything has to go inside that box, similar to if you went to the post office and bought a box, you can't have something sticking out of it. It has to be confined in what you purchase. So that is what we have is we allow 24 by 20 docks. So nothing can extend over that because then it's considered oversized and we don't allow oversized docks. All the oversized docks are grandfathered in from decades ago. And so none of them have been able to upgrade to an oversized dock for years.
And the oversized docks can't be upgraded at all.
Correct.
Themselves. So they couldn't install diving board or anything else on them.
Because this is you have one or two docks.
Each cabin has its own dock. There's 2 cabins, 2 docks. So it's not a second dock to a property.
Correct.
The other issue that we have is if we make an exception for you, then we open the entire floodgates for everybody else to have an exception. And then you really overcrowd what's going on out there at the lake.
So, are you going to start, like, I know that you have a new person going around measuring docks.
Mhm.
Are other docks with diving boards going to be forced to remove them
If they're out of compliance and they're not
without selling?
if they're out of compliance and they're not grandfathered in, yes, there will be dealt with in that respect. Yeah, to be looked at.
Unfortunately, or the exact reason why we had to hire a public officer out there, because things have just gotten a little bit out of control.
And so, what if it were a ladder? I know some ladders have like a 4-inch step on them and they kind of lean out so they're easier for people to get in and out of the lake. Is that going to be required to be removed from docks?
I know the
They exceed the
official
footprint.
answer. I think that'd be stupid, but that's just me.
Exceeds the footprint, it's beyond the realm.
There you go. Stand by.
I would say that the steps are much more easily lifted up and removed. I know a lot of people take their steps out of their docks and put them on the dock when it's not in season. Some of them were metal and didn't like the zebra mussels getting on them. And
On
so-
that, I would just think that if it were not in season, it would not be a safety issue because there's nobody on the lake.
It's not a safety issue anyways, it's a size issue.
Yeah, if anything, it's safer for the person that's diving off the diving board and presumably diving into deeper water. So.
And I will say, this specific isn't about safety, but the requirements of the dock sizes that we have, those were set in place, and I know that safety was taking in account when they made those sizes. Otherwise, it would have been 60 feet out or whatever. As far as the safety goes too, like, we have no way to police out there, and we also know that people don't follow the rules as far as getting close to docks and such, and it may not be that you're able to drive something there, but it happens all the time, and we have no way to police it.
So what if we made the diving board removable?
There you go. I think that's what somebody had mentioned just a second ago.
To where we could still use it while we were down there, but after we're done using it, we can slide it off, set it aside?
I don't see why you couldn't do that. Todd, do we don't have anything that prevents that, do we?
No.
It reminds
It's
me
not a
of the,
permanent structure, then.
It's no different than
Yeah.
a lily pad
They could.
that people put out in front of their docks.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Or even the people using jet skis.
But somebody would have to, if we went that route, somebody would have to be down there if that dock's out. If it's not out, I mean, if you leave and go out for lunch and it's out and nobody's down there, I mean, you're in violation.
We
'Cause
could even have something that folded up.
Hmm.
Okay. So can we go ahead and do the transfer? Do we need to go down and take it off and then come back and then the transfer is approved, or?
Didn't we approve the transfer last
It was
meeting?
approved contingent upon
The removal of the ladder of the
Right, so
diving
just, I mean, if you're gonna get a new diving board, remove that, and then it's approved, because it's removed, and then you're gonna be adding a different one, which means you would. Does she need a permit for that?
If
I
it's a
don't think
contingency, then that, yeah, once it's removed, then the contingency is fulfilled. So,
Yeah,
No, I mean,
Yeah.
for the retractable
Oh.
diving board, does she need a permit for that?
I wouldn't think so either.
It's not a permanent structure.
Yeah,
They don't require it.
it's probably like 4 bolts coming up to the deal, some kind
That's
of
probably, I'm okay with that.
undercarriage deal. I mean,
But you're right, the approval is contingent upon the removal, so upon the removal, it will be transferred. And then you can reinstall a different diving board.
if we have to get into the water to remove it, can we get like until Memorial Weekend or something? When the water's warmed up a bit? I don't know how it's on there, but I don't see us getting in, over 6 feet of water when it's freezing cold to remove it. If that's the case. Just covering all my bases here.
That's reasonable to me, but that's.
The transfer's not effective until it happens unless you guys change your motion or do new action. So
So what does that mean? If the
that means your dock is out of compliance. And if the public officer enforces anything, they'll enforce something. But until they do, there's nothing before the council.
but it's not. I mean,
Once
so
the
you're saying
docking,
technically it hasn't been transferred to me. So who does that fall on?
It's nobody's. Frankly, it's the old owners, I suppose. Yeah,
But we'll get some sort of written warning before you like demolish the dock or something.
We're not gonna
The
do
public
that.
officer, after coming and
We don't want
speaking
that.
to us and you requesting time to get it off because of weather shouldn't be bothering you. As long as you get that done, you said before Memorial Day, so.
Well, when the water warms up, I mean, Memorial Day is generally still pretty cold, but people are swimming, so that's why I threw that date out there just in case we haven't.
you've already purchased the property, right?
Mhm.
And that's all been transferred.
Mhm.
Okay, the only issue right now is the dock itself.
Yeah.
And it's currently still owned by the other people until that diving board's been removed. Is that correct?
well,
I don't know.
That's what I'm trying to find out. So you have who's responsible for removing the diving board? Is it you or the people that sold it?
it's the people who purchased it.
The
And
people
I
that
don't
purchased it?
expect them to
Okay.
come and do it, especially if we're going to make it to where it's either retractable or can hold up.
Mhm.
Because chances are we're not gonna go out and buy a new one, we're gonna either weld something or, remedy the solution
Right,
to what
right.
we have instead of that. So, we'll work on getting it, hopefully everyone can give us at least the allowance to Memorial Weekend. So if you don't see it off immediately, I guess that's what I'm asking.
Are you
I
open to
don't
it?
see a problem with you waiting till then.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Same.
Do we need to make a motion? I think, okay. All right. Will you keep us posted on when that's removed and replaced? Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, Lake Moore bid.
Yeah, this is in your guys' packet. It's I guess replacement mower trading one in for the lake.
Well, I wish Mike was here to talk about that.
It's from Schwab.
Do you wanna put it at the next meeting and have Mike be here?
Yeah, because I don't know if you guys have answers to questions such as, how old is the current mower? How many hours do we have on it?
768.
Does it say that on here?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the trade-in has 768 hours on it. Okay. What's the lifespan of these things? Anybody know?
I think in the past, we haven't been going off the lifespan of them. We were just trying to get in the cycle of keeping our trade-ins where we could get the max amount of trade-ins and not be dealing with
They
something
bust
that's
down.
going to be breaking
Mhm.
down. It's going to be causing a bunch of time for maintenance.
They also had like a really sweet deal for cities that they don't seem to have anymore, that where they got, not only below the, but they got it a lot cheaper than the common person could go out and purchase a mower for. So then, when you look at that same value traded in 2 or 3 years, we were getting damn near what out of the trade-in, what we bought it for. So that price, as we rolled it, I mean, this was much less than the $7,000 difference that we have here.
That's an
Yeah.
excellent price.
Yeah, and I mean, well, Yeah, but I mean, shoot, it was like
A
$1,000 or
16
$2,000 that we were paying
Mm-hmm.
with those trades. I mean, it was ridiculously low. It was awesome, but it just doesn't seem to be the times we're in anymore.
Mm-mm.
So,
But it's not this one, the top of the line and
yeah,
16.
And how often are these traded in, do you know?
Every 3 years.
I want to say 3. Yeah,
Every
I wanna say
3
that as
years.
well.
So,
And
Similar
is that,
to
and that's
the
just
trucks,
for this one
right?
on trade-in,
Trucks are
Yeah,
Uh,
a lot of trucks have been 9 or city trucks.
there's 7, I thought, on the city
We've been
trucks.
getting a new city truck every 3,
Right.
but we're not trading. Yeah,
Okay, what I'm looking at is, do we set money aside for these purchases? I know you probably haven't done that in the
We hadn't in the
past.
past.
no, we haven't done that level of budgeting, I guess. But I'm not sure what. I know Lisa put together a working 5-year plan, and
Yeah, we'll have an idea next at the,
I think she
At
had
the
some
treasurer's
equipment on
meeting
there.
on-
So yeah,
on,
I think she did too.
I think I saw
I
it
think
on
I
there.
remember that.
yeah, she'll be at the next meeting. She's always at the first of the month meetings with the treasurer's report.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not. Yes, I'm.
I'm not against it in principle either. I just want to make sure we've got the money, sure that we can plan for that down the road. Because next year, what's it going to be? The city's mower next year?
No, it'll be 3 years.
Well, if we're replacing the mower every 3 years, which one are we replacing? They're not on the same replacement schedule. So how many mowers we have? You got 2 for the city and 1 for the lake, or 1 and 1?
I'm not sure the trade-in thing, but I know we weren't getting a lawnmower in back-to-back years.
Yeah.
Because they had it break down. We had years off of half. Those are good questions to have answered at the next meeting, but I'll move to put this on continuing business at the next meeting.
I'll say it is over 13,000 online for that same month.
Second, somebody has the motion.
Sure.
Table.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to table the Schwant tractor trade-in for the lake mower to the next meeting, seconded by Justin. Is there any further discussion on that? Okay, those in favor? Okay, passes 4-0. We'll discuss it at the next meeting as well. Which is going to be March 13th. Okay, next thing up is a clerk position. Not sure that anybody here particularly had put that on the agenda. Am I correct? Anybody here?
No.
Okay, then I'll throw something in there since it's on there about that. As of late this afternoon, we've had 2 applications with resumes put in for this job, and we've had 1 resume turned in without the application. I think Stephanie, correct me if I'm wrong, you reached out to that person to ask for the application, right? Okay. The second posting of the bid goes up, or the second posting of this open position goes up this coming Thursday. Now, and just so you know, if you haven't heard already, Stephanie's last day here is March 20th.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily mean we have to hire somebody tonight to fill that spot, nor does it mean we have to hire somebody at the next meeting. What that means is we've got to hire somebody at some time in the near future. Until that time, Lisa's willing to fill in to cover the clerk position until we get this filled. So we can decide and take our time and pick the right person or persons, depending on how we do that. But just an update, that's where we're at. Personally, I think we need at least 2 weeks of notification in the newspaper before we just railroad somebody in here. Preferably longer, but I don't know if we've got 30 days to wait before we start training somebody. Any discussion on that? Any thoughts? Michelle, any thoughts, Michelle? Annie, anybody?
Do we get to see these applications?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you guys want? I don't know.
Do we get to see them?
Well, yeah.
I'm gonna pull them
Yeah.
out. I'm gonna pull them out of hat, and whoever I get to, we're gonna put in there.
I'm
No, we're-
talking
we're-
about
Can we do
before
some
the
side
meeting
bets?
so we can look up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I was just
I think we should have
keeping it open, I guess.
I think we should have, once we close it, I think we should have a work session before our city council meeting so we can go over the applications and talk about them, and then we can decide on the following city council meeting, which one or ones or however many we're gonna hire to fill
Can we
that.
do interviews at a special meeting?
If you designate the special meeting to be review of applications and interview of employees, potential employees.
It has to be open, but I think we have the right to ask,
Well, you
just kind of etiquette to stay out of the area, don't we?
no, you have the open meeting, call it open, and you can interview them and personnel executives.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I was not aware of that.
We can do an executive at an open meeting, I mean, at the workshop.
Sure.
Okay,
I mean, it's just, you wouldn't call it a work session, you call it a special meeting.
okay. Okay, all right, that's what we'll do. The next publication goes out this coming Thursday.
Mhm.
So technically, if we give them the end of the week on that, we're looking at March 9th. March 9th is,
Yeah.
March 9th would be the end of the 2 weeks, 2-week notification period. You want,
You don't have to.
Yeah.
you got, question, I have a question for the council. Do you want to go with a 2-week advertisement campaign, or do you want to extend that beyond 2 weeks? What do you think?
2 weeks, fine.
I
with
would
me.
yeah, I don't know, I'd say maybe be dynamic about it if we think we have the right pool of candidates to interview. I wouldn't hesitate to shut it off at any point if you think, oh, well, we've got, 2 or 3 awesome resumes in front of us. I wouldn't have any qualms about just shutting it down and do some interviews, but if we need to go longer, then go longer.
And I would value Stephanie's opinion
Go
about
for
what
it.
she sees on the resumes as to how long we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to close it down before you start interviewing people, do you? I mean, if you're interviewing people and you're thinking, well, gosh, maybe we should keep it open longer to see if somebody
Well,
else.
here's my concern. The last advertisement,
I would think so.
the last publication is this Thursday, which is March 2nd. So if you give it a week, that puts them, the closing date at March 8th. The next city council meeting is 5 days later on the 13th. Do we have enough time at the end of the day on March 8th to schedule a special meeting before the Monday city council meeting? Which means we have to do it on Thursday, the 9th, or Friday, the 10th of March.
We've also just added it to the front of the council meeting before.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
you could just do it the 13th too.
We don't have to have it
Boy.
actually. set.
Every time we give them 7 days to train.
For a late
Oh, that's
meeting, if we
longer
can.
than the 9th.
No, that's true.
It gives them 5 days extra to make the deal. But how long is that process gonna take? Are we gonna start it at the meeting on Monday at 6 PM or 5 PM or 7 PM?
I was interviewed before.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough to put it in conjunction with the council meeting.
It would be. I was interviewed, I think,
Yeah.
at like 4:30, maybe 5 o'clock on the Monday before the meeting, because then I came to the meeting after that.
Mhm.
That's fine.
And there was, I
Oh,
think, 3 council members maybe and a mayor. So. And Mike.
Well, I'm gonna be out of town from the 4th to the 18th, but I will be driving in at least for the meeting on the 13th.
It's I'm gonna suggest that we put the notice, the final notice in the paper this Thursday, close it on the 8th, see how many applications we get. And on the 13th, we'll have to share that information publicly with the council so that we don't get hit with a Open Meetings Act violation. Because we can't discuss it outside of here, right? That is correct. So we'll have to discuss it.
But
at
you
the
can
meeting.
you can hand out you can give copies of the resumes and
Yeah.
the applications to everybody. You just can't talk about
But
it.
you don't also have to close it. I mean, you can leave it. I don't know.
You could also
maybe wait
appoint,
and see and reassess at that time.
yeah, or you can
Well,
appoint a
that's what I was
committee.
gonna say.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna suggest. On the 13th, we reassess what we've got. Because like you said, we may not have qualified applicants to begin with. Then there's another issue that I found out about recently is that in the past, we hired somebody and started training them and then had their drug test done after they've been hired. My concern with that is, what if you hire somebody that fails the drug test, and now we've trained them for a week or 10 days or longer before the results come back, and we're out that money if they fail it. I just assume we test them before they start training.
That makes
That
sense.
makes a whole lot of sense.
To me, that does. I mean, it saves us a headache if they fail it, because then we've got to go to the hiring process all over again.
And it's a continuous drug testing position, just throwing it out there. I've been drug tested more times here than I ever have in my life.
They take your hair.
It's a urine test. Yeah. Has to be for the gas system.
Who's urine?
But it's
I took somebody to the VA one time and they brought the
Random
bottle back
samples.
up and gave it to the nurse, and she looked at it and she looked at me and she said, "What do you think?" I said, "I think you got it tapped out of the bathroom sink." The guy looks at us, he goes, "Well, you caught me." Took another empty bottle and went back. I mean, come on, he could have used warm water if nothing else out of the sink, but he
A
didn't.
little food color.
Okay, but anyway, back on the subject here, guys. Are we in agreement to look at this on March 13th and see if the applications are worthy of having a special meeting to go over that, or
We can
decide
meet
to?
sooner. I was
extend
just
it.
throwing it out as an option. I didn't.
No, I
Yeah,
like
like-
that option. I don't know if we can meet quickly enough in front of the March 13th meeting.
Okay.
That's just what I'm saying. I don't know if
And
we
I
can
can
do
send
that.
I don't
The
want. I
current-
don't want to be rushed
Yeah.
with this.
No, I don't either.
I can send the current applications that I have to tomorrow. You guys want email?
Did you want what we have now, or do you want to wait until we get the
Just
rest of them?
Send it.
Okay.
We've
I'd
we've
like
only
to
got the
see.
two. Don't send the one without the application,
Okay.
okay? Because
Will
just
do.
like in the past, I'm not interested in hiring anybody that don't turn in an application. Okay, let's get those out at least, and then if you get the other applications, send it out.
Okay.
And I'm gonna ask you to send out anybody else's resume and application to come in together.
Okay.
To these guys as well. Okay.
Will do.
Okay, any further discussion on that?
Nope.
We're gonna table this to March 13th. If you'll put that on the agenda, I'd appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna backtrack just for a second, if that's okay with you guys. I believe you were gonna be here talking about something during the public concerns session, and you had to leave and come back. Are you willing to give us a few minutes of your time to tell us what's on your mind?
We had rented a dumpster for our yard and our house. And one of our neighbors took it in his own hands to fill it completely full when I was at work. And
Where are you talking about? Do you have an address?
She lives in Annie Gateway's old house.
I think
Okay.
it's 202
That,
or
and that's
208.
where the dumpster is out there. Okay.
2-8 what?
I put something in there that Bobby, dude that was helping me,
Mhm.
I offered him to tell you we'd pay you money for it, and he said, well, go ahead, it's just that hot tub.
Well,
And I
it was
said-
an empty dumpster. It's full.
Yeah, I seen that there was stuff in there, and I threw the hot tub in there, but I told him to tell, because I obviously didn't want
Do you
to.
think it's appropriate to put stuff in somebody else's
Well, he
dumpster?
said to go ahead and do it, and he was gonna get home, and I said, tell her we will pay her money.
Well, he doesn't live in my house. That
I
dumpster
just
comes
went
in
off
my-
what he said it'd be all right, so I said, tell her we'll give her money, and
Who is Bobby?
I just had
Somebody
some-
that's, I guess helped him move the stuff.
Yeah, I put a hot tub in there, I sawed it in half and threw it in there. Cause he said it would be all right, he was his cousin or something like that, and I said, well, tell her. He goes,
Well,
I said,
here's-
she's there, will you talk to her? And he said, no.
Here's what I'd suggest, sir. If you did put something in the
I
dumpster,
did, I put the hot tub.
well, I want you to contact Osage Waste, right? I want you to contact them, say you're gonna pay the full fee for picking that up. When they pick it up, you're gonna pay them, and then you'll make sure they replace it with an empty dumpster. Okay? You gonna do that?
I'll pay to get rid of the hot tub, yeah.
No, you're paying for it all.
No, I ain't.
Okay, well,
Well, there was stuff in it when I threw it in there.
what's your name, sir?
Casey, Knight.
Casey Knight?
Mhm.
Okay,
'Cause I didn't
so,
really want to do it. And he said, well, it'll be okay. It's my cousin. I said, well, you make sure and tell them that we'll pay for this hot tub being in there. And it ain't like I just, you know.
What's-
I took it
what's his
for it.
address?
His address.
Mr. Knight,
111, well, he came off of the property at 111 South Locust.
Mr. Knight is a resident of the city?
Yep.
Okay, what's your address, sir?
I live in Big A's Apartments.
Well, you can tell me the address so I can
Number
serve you with the
15. I'm not
complaint.
sure what the address is.
I
I
have
live in number
the,
Do you have the address?
I have the address.
You
I
can
don't
give it
know
to me
which
later.
apartment number.
Prairie Winds Apartments.
It's 103 North Cedar, apartment 15.
Ma'am, if you do end up going ahead and getting that cleaned out, give me
I'll
a,
go back over there and
bill.
take it out if you want. But
no, I've told you how it goes down. You either pay for the whole thing or you get prosecuted. That's how it's gonna go. I'm prosecuting you for theft of services because you did it and you admitted it. So you can pay for the whole thing or you can be prosecuted for it.
I was told it was okay.
You're told by nobody who has authority. You weren't told by the city, you weren't told by the landowner or the owner of the dumpster. You followed bad advice and now
Maybe
you,
I talk to these people before I do this, and he goes, no, it'll be all right, I'll talk to them. I said, make sure you tell her I'll give her money for whatever that answer costs.
I've told you how it's gonna happen. So you can pay for it or we'll have you in
I'll
court.
just go over there and take it back out.
You know it's trespassing, right?
I mean, if you permit me to go back over there, I'll take it back out. But there was
You
stuff in
gonna
there
permit
when I
him to
put
go
that
back
in,
on
I
your
don't-
property, ma'am?
Well, he said he's only gonna take out the hot tub and there's way more than a hot tub.
Well,
Okay,
I
well,
just put the hot tub in there.
And
whatever
there, I
was
don't
with that
see
hot
why
tub.
a hot tub would take.
Well, I'm not
trucks
settling this
multiple
dispute.
times.
I'm
Multiple
just-
tire marks in my yard.
Ma'am, is he granted authority to go onto your property?
If he empties it out, if he doesn't plan on emptying it, then
Okay.
Well, that other stuff ain't mine. It was already in there.
Sir, if you enter her property, I'm going to take this as a designation that she is not allowing you on the property except to remove all the stuff. If you don't comply with that, you trespass, I'll add that to the charges. All right? Is that good enough? Like I said, if you do get if it doesn't, there's no action and you do get charged for that, send me the statement so we can seek restitution.
Do you want her name and number or anything?
Put it with the clerk and when you get the bill. So that cover it?
Yeah, you're the attorney.
Okay. Thank you for coming in.
thank you.
Okay, next up on the continuing business is 111 South Locust Street. Becky?
Hi, everyone. So, before this information came to light, I was going to say that the property was cleared of. However, Casey, I don't know where you're going to take that stuff to. You're going to take it back to 111 Locust.
No.
Okay.
I'll take it over with my dad's and burn it.
I don't think you're supposed to burn that kind of stuff.
I'll find out. It's out of city limits. So
Yeah, he's in the
I'm not gonna
county.
do anything but here.
His dad's in the county.
You can burn anything in the county?
When there ain't a burn. I mean, if we ain't supposed to burn it, that stuff, then I won't.
Okay.
There's a hell of a lot worse than gets burned.
Yeah.
So, nothing will be going back onto that property. So,
No.
they reinforced the porch. You can see there that they cleared the trees, reinforced with those blocks and some bricks. Put down that new plywood to cover up the holes.
You know, unlike I was trying to say last meeting, that porch, that stuff's just temporary. It's eventually gonna all come out and a different one be built on it.
But it has to be currently safe.
I'd say it's safe now.
I would too. That's what I was trying to tell everybody. I stepped on it also, and it didn't give. I feel that it's safe. There is, however, still cleanup in the yard that needs to be done. So, that pile in the back.
That's a burn pit. I'm gonna burn it whenever I can.
Okay, and then all the I see there's anyways, there's stuff in there, but all those,
Just wood.
it still needs some fine tuning. Is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, when there ain't a burn going on, I'll burn it.
And then all the trees that you cut down back there, you'll have to take care of those stumps. Okay.
I will sometime.
Okay.
I mean, I think I'll let him set up like that.
There's these that need to be taken care of. There's still another tree over there at the property line in the back. It's sprouted up on its own. It's next to another large tree. It's going to be it will be a problem if it's not taken care of.
I'm failing.
So anyways, then we need to discuss, I mean, if that's okay with you guys. I mean, I don't
What
think
is
it
your
should be
suggestion?
closed. Well, I feel that there still needs to be, I think you guys made tremendous progress.
Yeah, we did get to work on it first week, you know, through the rain and. stuff.
Yeah, I
It
saw.
was pretty much, I worked on it.
And next door I
this
can
week,
see.
So,
So,
Are you gonna continue to work on this brush pile and things of this nature she's talking about right now?
there is no brush, I took it all away. I don't know what trees he's talking about sprouting up, by a bigger tree.
you know, I can walk the property with you
That's an idea.
and
I mean, what's a tree sprouting up, that's good for anything.
because it's when you get these trees that sprout up, it becomes a problem like what you just had to deal with. If you don't maintain your yard, and then when you've got it right next to a mature
I just
tree
come
that's
into this thing,
already
this thing
there.
Sitting there for 20 years, so, you know, a tree sprouting up somewhere, to me, ain't no problem unless it's right next to the house like them other ones were. That was a problem.
this tree's gonna be a problem if it's not taken care of now. It's right next to a
How's it
mature.
gonna think it'll be a problem?
Well, because that tree is huge, and when it starts to compromise that tree, then it could fall on somebody's house or somebody's child
What house is gonna fall on back there?
or somebody who's out in their yard.
I ain't messing with no trees. I've been.
Let's Casey, it sounds like you've sounds like you've made some progress in the last couple of weeks, and I acknowledge that. I appreciate that. I don't want to get into a contest where what is and what isn't. Becky's offered to come out and show you some concerns that she has as the public officer. It's not going to hurt her to come out and meet with you,
Sure, I can meet with her.
and you guys can check it out and see where we can go from there. I don't know. I've been by the property a couple times in the last 2 weeks myself. Not only yours, but others in town. And I can see where progress has been made. I'd like to see it continue. The progress continues so that we don't have an issue. Can we agree to do that?
That's fine with me.
Can we agree to do that?
About the entry.
That's all right. Go ahead, Tyler.
Is this the gentleman who's had trouble with your entry onto the property?
No, the other one.
Okay.
So I guess we all agree that it's really not resolved yet. I mean, that's my opinion. It's not resolved yet. There's still some fine tuning that needs to be done. And then we need to start talking about the living conditions of the home also.
We're not gonna live in it until I get it redone.
Right.
I mean, that's a simple fact of it.
But right now, it's the outside of it that is the issue, right, Becky?
Yeah, and there's
Right.
still a broken window with jagged glass that hasn't been taken care of also.
Point that out to him when you're out there, and you can board that up. That's a simple fix.
Well, that glass needs to be removed.
Yeah, I know, but
I mean, unless he wants to
I
board it up on the
boarded
outside.
Yeah.
The other one, I don't
Yeah.
know which one, I think it's the same one. I'm not sure if it's the inside window or outside. The bottom one was broke, now, so I boarded over that part of it.
But the board's on the inside. So all the broken glass is still on the outside of the
Not
home.
where I boarded, I took all the glass out, up the bottom part. You know, and I think it was broken above, but I don't members.
Okay. There's still jagged glass broken, yeah, so probably just all that needs to be removed. You have it boarded up anyways.
I'm putting new windows in there anyway, so, you know.
But, right, but we're looking for safety now, not down the road.
I don't know what it's on the inside.
But we'll just, we can walk the property together and that way there's no questions. Okay?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's get that done and then go from there, okay?
See him at the next meeting.
Yes.
If I need to just put a full sheet of plywood up there, I guess I will. Or take the glass
So
out.
do I need to
Yeah.
move to have that taken?
All right,
I'll move to have 111 in South Lucas at the next meeting, continuing business.
we'll continue this at the March 13th meeting, okay? Okay, so you can see where we're at.
Hold on.
Let's get the motion.
Yeah, we have a
Second.
okay, we have a motion to continue the property at 111 South
Yeah,
Lucas
2
to
weeks.
March 13th, and seconded by Justin. Do you have any further discussion? Those in favor? Okay, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you. Okay, 106 Mulberry,
You said March 15th.
13th.
13th, sorry, 13th. Okay, thank you. Okay. These are up-to-date pictures taken today of the property at 106 Mulberry.
This is one of my favorite. Yeah, there's a nice cooler just laying there in the ditch when we walked by this morning. It's like, that's not in bad shape.
Put it down the back side.
Is it split? I was like, that don't look bad. Okay,
It was sitting up a little farther, but, that rain last night.
good to know. I was like, man, that looks like a good cooler on the ground.
Watch my trash can and that cooler down. I
Okay.
have trash going from my yard all the way to my neighbor's yard.
Yeah.
I go pick it all up and throw it to work.
That's a whole lot of cans.
I don't know if they.
and I can't see you very well. Are you Joel?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't remember you having glasses last.
Oh,
2 weeks
no,
ago.
I use them so I can read.
Okay,
Sorry.
all right, now I recognize you. Okay, thank you. All right. Just wanted to make sure I knew who I was talking to or about or with.
I don't know if you want me to read the history on that or not.
Well, I still say it's in progress, right?
This
We've given an extension.
started in December 8th.
I've been by a couple times and every time I've gone by, I've seen at least 2 people. And one day I saw 4 out there working, doing things. So I have to say that you're getting some help to get something done anyway.
I'd like to think that I had made, vast improvements on the backyard. I got a hold of Mr. Kimball, and he informed me that he wasn't gonna be able to haul the vehicles off because his truck is down at the present moment. So I'm kind of at a loss on getting the vehicles hauled out of there. I haven't pulled to the edge of my property up to the alleyway, so they can, instead of being in the middle of my yard, that way they can be easily accessible to get.
To get them removed.
Yes.
Does anybody have any idea if there's anybody else that can help besides Gary?
I don't know, Tom Blue figured it out within like 24 hours and he came and moved on those vehicles for more. I can ask him.
Yeah.
There's other people, and also though, when they do try to move those vehicles, unless we're going through a drought, the ruts are just gonna be, we need some gravel in that alley.
I was told that is not the city's responsibility, that is the citizen's responsibility when I talked to Mike about that. 'Cause
The alley?
I did ask him, Becky. I said,
Alleys
is
aren't
there
ours.
any way we can get, some rock in this alleyway? And he told me that was
Depends on who owns it, I guess. Because I
It's-
thought mine
it's
was a
on
city
the-
alley and it's not. So
Like, is
you
that
might you might
alleyway-
have to look at a map for that. 'cause
This has to be
the alleyways
alley.
were the citizen's responsibility, the city.
Well, I
dealt
said
with
the same
streets
about
and
that.
sidewalks.
It's not like one of those private roads. Like my sister used to live over there, and that curve everybody thought was a road, and actually it was her property. But and it's still a road today. She could have closed that down if she wanted to. But this is an alley. This is in between the homes, regular alley. And Robin and I tried to drive down it one day. We got stuck. We had to back out. There's just I don't know how they're gonna pull those cars out of there with the alley the way it is. We really need gravel there.
I know we've done it before where the homeowner has bought the gravel and then we've used, city time and equipment to spread it. But,
Mhm.
I
That's been
just saying,
typical,
but-
yeah, what we've been doing since.
You gotta be kidding me.
yeah.
Well, we did have a work session where we agreed that we were going to be maintaining the alleys. That was when Dolly was mayor. But we didn't agree on any gravel, but we did agree on making the entrances where people's vehicles wouldn't drag going through the alley and smoothing them all out so that they wouldn't be.
Well, that hasn't
Right.
Well, that
happened
hasn't
either.
happened.
We had to
I
cut
realize
the
that.
limbs so that
I mean,
we could get
one
through
of
our
the-
alley.
One end of the alley, you can, the south end or the north end, you can pull in fine. But you come down to the south end where the sidewalk is, and it's like a big dip. If you're in a regular car, you're gonna be bottoming out, and I've gotten stuck in my truck there.
So, cities.
I think the gravel's.
And my concern with that is how's the ambulance, fire truck, and
Any other emergency
any other
vehicle.
thing, utilities going to be getting into the alley if
Yeah.
The alleys
if
and the
it
gravel and
isn't
the
alley.
our
alleys.
own
Which one they're
designated
talking about.
alley.
Which alley is,
Which one is
106 is his address, but I don't know what side of Mulberry that's on.
It'd be between, Mulberry and.
It's gonna be on the east
whatever
side.
street he lives on.
It's gonna be east of his property.
Oh, okay,
The alley.
Yeah.
I'm with
Yes.
you. Okay.
well, is it the east?
Runs
So there's
north and
Locust and
south.
then Mulberry. So it'd
Yeah,
be
it
between
runs-
Locust and Mulberry.
The alley
Behind
runs,
his house is to the east.
the alley runs
This
north
way.
and south, but it's east of his house. Where's his house on that map?
That should be it, right? It's 106 Mulberry.
I don't know if it's that. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's gonna be that line you just ran your finger down.
Okay, well, that's,
I mean,
according to this, that's a dedicated alley to the city. It's city alley.
I think we have the power to say we deem it that bad and,
Do whatever.
on recommendation of the public officer, whatever we need and just say, let's get some gravel and spread it.
And we do
And that would be at the,
acknowledge that the alleys are part of us, because I mean, when we had our different departments, I literally was streets and alleys.
Well, alleys can be vacated too, so it's not unusual for some alleys in the city to be vacated and devoted to the adjoining landowners. So until you check this to the mapping, it usually is an open question.
Yeah.
So,
And it's city, are you able to tell that, or does it?
well, I mean, by the map, it looks like if that's the alley, it is mapped as being platted to the city as a alley. So it is a city's right of way.
and responsibility, right?
Well, to maintain the surface
Mm-hmm.
of it and travel on it if need be. You can close it if it wants to. It doesn't have to have it open, but it is not necessarily just the owner's property either. It's public
I
way.
mean, I'm no expert on how far a truckload of gravel is gonna go, so I mean, as far as making a motion to expend a certain amount, I mean, I don't know.
I would prefer us getting in there with the interloader and just smoothing it out first.
Smooth it out first, then drop a load of gravel
Think
on
it'll
it.
be under
Just
mayor
simple.
discretion, $500, or is that?
But did anybody go out there and look at the lake, at the gravel that was put out there?
I did.
Yes.
Justin, did anybody
No, I
else,
haven't.
anybody else been out there? Because if you had, I think you'd have an idea of how far that $500 went. But I've seen the ruts out there that he's talking about. It's not a matter of just dumping the gravel on it. It's an even layer all the way down because that one section is going to take a little bit more to fill that in.
I mean, going through there and smoothing it out would probably be the smarter thing to do than just go and dump gravel.
Well, yeah. So I was saying we need to smooth that out first and then put the gravel on top of it after it's smoothed out. We can do that. If the council directs, we can.
Behind the station.
Right.
Do your vehicles drag going in and out of there? Okay. What?
I was gonna say, if the council directs, I'll authorize the work to be done to get it leveled off or smoothed out with the uniloader and then gravel put on top of it.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I mean, that would certainly help getting a bigger truck in there to get the material removed that needs to be.
Yeah, it would make it a lot easier.
Stephanie has a possible contact that might have a vehicle that can come out there and do that. She's going to check on that.
Okay.
And she can let me know, and I'll be glad to come up and talk to you about it.
Okay.
See if we can do with that. And if that works, then there's an avenue for you to get that out without having to wait on Mr. Kimball to get his vehicle fixed.
I'm all for that.
So what's your
Because
opinion?
like I said,
Becky? Is
I'm
he making
exhausted
progress?
every option I've had on trying to get them hauled out.
Slightly. I think he can't really, like I said, that's why I brought up the alley. I don't think he's gonna be able to get those vehicles out of there until that alley's taken care of. Unless super dry, well, then we'd have to coordinate with that. And so if the alley's really gonna have to be done before we can expect him to get the vehicles out of there. Especially heavy trucks, really gonna make bigger ruts, maybe possibly get stuck.
The way it is now, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the little truck we got stuck in, the city truck. And then, but the other stuff can go out the front way. So the rest of it still needs to be cleared. You postpone it for one more meeting, and then if it's not drastically changed.
Okay, could you possibly come over and show me exactly what you're talking about, Becky?
You want her to walk through with you?
Yeah,
Okay.
if you could do that.
And here's some pictures I took today. And also I would like for Todd, our lawyer, to explain to you my right of entry.
Yeah, please do.
Well, the city code allows the city officer to go on any property within the city, personal, real property, to examine and determine if compliance is being done. So it is not trespassing for her to be on there to take pictures and to review the property.
Okay, well, when I lived in Topeka, I know that the code enforcement officers were not allowed to come onto the property. They had to take the pictures from the middle of the street and the middle of the alley. That is the only reason why I said what I said. That's what I was going off of.
Yeah, now you know the code, our code says differently. Our rules are different than Topeka.
Right?
And
Your rules are the same state of Kansas, correct?
no, they're not. State of Kansas doesn't have any rule about the right of entry onto a property. It's not trespassing.
Okay.
It's allowed.
So what does that mean? That makes it the 13th then? Again? Okay. That means that we'll get directed pretty quickly about the alley. The next few days is probably going to be pretty muddy.
I kind of
But-
wondered about postponing till the 27th for that reason.
Yeah,
but,
same.
I mean,
Because of
just to
guys.
give that
Same thing.
time
'Cause
to
it's gonna-
take place.
It was already rainy, and then we have more rain and snow at the end of the week, and I don't know if that'll impact them putting gravel down or rolling that out or how that works.
It definitely will impact.
Right. I don't want
Yeah.
them causing the ruts in the first place. So yeah, I'd say the second one instead.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So March 27th.
I'll move 106 South Mineral and continuing business on March 27th. Or what is it?
Mulberry.
Mulberry.
Mulberry. What did I say? That's by the church.
Yes.
It's on my list.
At least it was a real one, right?
So March 27th. So the alley should be done before then? So
Yes.
so he can have the vehicles out by March 27th? Is that what we're saying?
Let me get with you on that.
Okay,
I want to make sure I can get the gravel in and we got the time to get it. put in.
okay. And it really depends on the gravel.
'Cause they're also
For the
supposed to be,
vehicles.
they're also supposed to be taking gravel out the lake and spreading it right now too, so.
Okay.
I'll see if we can't get that filled in at the same time,
There you go.
Okay.
not by Bob Logan, but by our guys.
Yeah, but Bob Holland potentially.
So you guys are wanting me to give,
If you want to
use my discretion to get gravel in that area?
Yes, sir.
So the motion to extend 27th?
So it was
Is there one?
who made the motion?
I made the motion.
And who seconded it?
Me.
Okay, motion by Brad, seconded by Justin to table this till March 27th. Any further discussion? Okay, those in favor? Passes.
There's tires.
Well, yeah, I mean, I understand that. I mean,
Excessive.
Huh?
The excess amount.
Okay, let's talk about the employee handbook. Who brought that up on the agenda?
Well, we tabled it from the last meeting.
Okay. A copy with me. I knew I forgot.
I think we'll have to print that out to approve it because the version you sent is editable. I don't know if that's a word. So,
Well,
I
it
mean,
would have-
anybody could go on at any time.
Regardless, if you approve it the way it's written now and it gets edited, you're still gonna have to approve it before you're gonna have to approve the hard copy, is what I'm saying. You
Like
wouldn't,
I went in earlier and you can do two modes. You can do just a straight up edit, or it's tracked by a change log, so you can go in and see who made what changes when. Or you can make suggestions. So I've done that. I did that, I don't know, a couple hours ago and made like suggestions in certain places. But it shows up as a little bubble off to the side that says, Justin Rush suggested, blah, blah, blah.
I don't think my computer does that, but if yours does, it's great.
Well, it's the same
It's
program.
the program,
It's
not the
that
computer.
Google Docs.
I think
I can show you how
so.
to do it. But
I mean,
I'll
I'm
have
not
to look at
speaking.
that. Get with me whenever.
You looked down on
But
the
you see what I'm
agenda.
saying? If you approve the handbook, if, for example, you approved it with the changes that's on there right now, and then she types it up, whoever types it up and puts it out, I think that typed up version has to be reviewed before it's approved. Does that make sense?
Sure, but I don't want to be burned by that, just in case somebody tweaks it and then it ends up being what she writes down, and even if we go through it,
That's
if
not,
we're
what-
approving it now,
You need one version.
I'm
That's
very
the version.
confused. That's what I'm saying. It's
That's
not
the
a
version.
master
I have one
version.
thing,
so,
sorry.
so what I'm saying is
It could be changed.
and then we have the responsibility to make sure it wasn't changed before we say this is it.
Well, in the past, I guess I'm going off of we haven't approved things twice. We just do the one time and then we're done.
And the only reason why I would agree with the doing it one time and we're done with it. I
Yeah.
agree with that 100%. All I'm saying is you can't do it on an edited version right now. Just like
Yeah.
Justin says, it's editable. You said
I said
it's editable.
I had a problem.
Not
with that.
edible.
So what-
It's editable.
So what you're saying is lock it down, and then at that point, the hard copies can be printed. and
Well,
it can be
Yeah, but
If
the
it's
hard
a
copy-
Word program, you can publish it to PDF,
Yeah.
send it out, say this is the final version.
Yeah.
Type final in the top corner,
Yeah.
and then that's it.
Well, with the way I did it though, with those little bubbles out to the side or whatever, those would need to be
Cleaned off.
resolved or, yeah.
I want to add little bubble. I want to play in the little bubbles.
Okay, I guess what we need to do then, I'm understanding that we cannot approve it as it's written tonight because it's editable, correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, if somebody has a final version they want to present in writing to everybody, that's fine, but it doesn't sound like.
Okay,
So
so
if
it
that being
sounds,
said, then can I move to postpone it to the next meeting?
Can I just have one little thing?
Stephanie?
I know I have like 1 foot out the door and I should have said this a while ago, but just a suggestion, maybe on President's Day, or no, sorry, Martin Luther King Day, maybe make that like President's Day, just because all of the days off for an employee are like November through January. It's like bam, 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 bam. Just a suggestion. And I always thought, oh, I'd kind of rather have a day off in February than get back for a week or two
and
and
this,
then have another day off. But like I said, Just something to think about.
Let's celebrate Julie Bisnet's birthday, March 7th.
There you go. It's a national
It's
holiday.
even later. Spaces the next day for Memorial Day. Yeah.
It's Julie's day.
I know.
I just always thought that.
Here,
It's
here.
just
Okay, so Justin,
Anyways.
you've reviewed the handbook,
I
but
just
you didn't bring it with you
I
to,
spot checked a couple places. I did not go through.
but you bubbled something, so you had questions or concerns. Do you have any idea where on the employee handbook that you had something? Do you have it on your laptop there now?
Yeah, I do.
I made notes if you want.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping we're gonna have some.
I don't
people
have a
do that.
copy to have
I can be quick,
made
though.
notes on yet, so
It's in your
I'll have
inbox.
those.
It's in your inbox probably.
Stephanie,
It's a good time.
Should be. And that's where I had to put everybody, so it is ought to be in there too. Did
My
you have any
goodness,
changes that you put on the handbook? that you
No.
noticed? Okay.
that's exactly what you think.
You wanna,
Have you
you
been
want,
able to look at it? Have you been able to read the changes?
that's what I thought.
Which ones?
they're
Which
highlighted.
time?
What you had,
I don't
what
know.
everybody got in their hand, what everybody got on the handbook in their inboxes, the changes are highlighted in yellow. Everything else in the handbook remained the same if it's not highlighted in yellow. So that's what you need to look at. Or if there's something that's not highlighted that you want to possibly change, then that was the whole idea of putting that out so you can review that and make changes to what's there, accept it as it is, or make changes to what's not highlighted. So it doesn't matter to me either way. We can look at it in 2 weeks. You would have 2 more weeks, but I'd ask that you look at it and bring it with you on the March 13th meeting so that we can look at the handbook with the corrections on it and make corrections so that we can print a final version.
For
And
the
get this out
27th.
there. Yes.
Because we're
No.
already-
Today's the 27th. No, we'll review it again on the 13th and print what we think is going to be a final copy and then approve that final copy on the 27th. That's my suggestion.
So I can tell you now the way to do it, or the way to go into suggestion mode is at the top where it has file, edit, all that stuff. Go to view, and then the very first thing down it says mode. Hover over that, and then there's editing or suggesting or viewing. So you can put it in suggesting mode, then it just does it makes a change, although it strikes through the old thing and puts your change in a different color, and then it has a little bubble out to the side like. Here it says replace must with should. So it has my name, tells who did it, tells when they did it, 6:01 p.m. today, and what the changes were that they made. So
I'll be calling you and asking for them instructions again.
that's fine. Yeah, no worries.
Watch it on video.
No.
Yeah.
So I guess I just need a second for my motion.
Second.
What was your motion? Repeat it, please.
To have the employee handbook on the continuing business on the 13th of March.
Okay, we have a motion to continue the employee handbook discussion to the 13th of March, seconded by Justin. Does anybody else have any comments? Any further discussion on that?
No, I guess I'll go type it in. You're good.
Those in favor? Motion passes. Okay, next thing, Hill Grant. Who wants to talk about that?
I just put it on here again, I don't know. I mean, what you guys want to do, it's due March 31st. Obviously, I'm leaving, so I don't know when, anyways.
That's the
That's the one for the
the
IGA
construction.
building.
Okay.
If you guys want to move forward with it, I guess you haven't really officially decided either. Your next step, according to Jana, which I think you all know, would be to get estimates and bids. And I kind of talked briefly with Mike today, like, where do you even start? And he said, I don't even know.
Estimate and bids for what?
Redoing that building.
Refurbishing it?
I don't know. I guess you guys need to decide.
What's the
What
term?
you want to do with it first?
I would
Probably is
say
the first.
still in the. No, go
Sorry.
ahead. Go
What are
ahead.
the terms on the HEAL grant, I guess? What does it do for us? That would help us.
I
with it.
sent you guys an
I'm
email,
sorry,
I
that's
don't know,
my
a
fault.
long time ago.
1-to-1 match up to $75,000.
Uh-huh.
They've got like a per square foot limitation, but that building is big enough to where that doesn't bring the $75,000 down any. Of course, we have that, that money that we got from selling Prairie Wind. We are under no obligation to spend it there. I personally like the idea of spending it there, but I like the idea of using levered funds to do city things. So, even though it is a 1-to-1 match, it's not a great leverage by any means, but at the same time, if we get half price special for doing some work out there, I'm all for it. I would love to, do it in such a way it preserves the facade. I think you could. I don't know how you would do it, and it would be probably have to get with Mike, and of course, it sounds like he's kind of at a loss, but you'd almost have to span it some way to try to keep the walls up, and it's got the party walls, and
So you're not saying restore the building, you're saying make it.
I'm saying
something.
build a building within that footprint, but yet preserve the facade and have the structural between the buildings, so span it somehow using, I don't know, rigid iron or something. I-beams. I don't know how to do it exactly. I'm not a structural person, but to me, that's kind of how you would do it. Is probably.
So basically gut it and keep the facade.
Well, yeah, and
Basically,
then
yeah.
build like I don't want to say a Morton building, but some kind of a fabricated building within that footprint, and you could on your facade of the, how they'll do rock. I don't want the metal, the metal crap, but
When was it due? Sorry.
so
March 31st.
Okay, so
And I'll also
I
get with Holly Boyce and see if there's any grants that we can
I would
tie
want to
into
do it
that
and
too.
make it look
Yeah.
nice.
would just to throw out from our experience doing the park grants, I don't think that you'll get anything that you want out of that. That's $195,000 to rip down what's there, maybe keep that facade up, and you're not even going to be able to put a Morton for that, I don't think, or a building,
195,000 to do.
Yeah,
what?
you're probably right.
because you're looking at 120,000 is what we have. They only match up to 75,000,
Yeah,
so that's $195,000
it's a,
max
yeah.
for the heel grant.
Oh,
So
well,
you
I was
also
gonna-
have to get all those quotes done and then fill out the entire application and have it in the next month, which is a
Yeah, it's-
very
it
tight
is.
deadline.
Every single one of these damn grants.
And
is
I'm not
speed
trying
run.
to, and I'm not trying to
No.
naysay. I'm just saying this is a very small window and hard to get.
It is, but this is the third time that this has come up, and I've brought it up. So I
Yeah.
feel like, just my opinion,
Yeah.
you guys need to come up with a plan of what you want to do with that building, or have an engineer come up with, these are your options. These are
Yes.
the different price points. And then when something does come up
Yes.
like this.
Now that is a plan I agree with.
And you have a
which
plan.
I was trying to push
Yeah.
for when I asked for them to do an engineer, and the guy
That's
came
what
in
we
and
thought
said,
we were getting with this guy.
I'm so very irritated with that whole situation
I know.
because we asked for an engineering report and he said tear it down.
Yeah, not very good, was it?
And
$500
it was a very expensive
Then
tear
you
down.
have Diane Termal come in here and tell us tonight that
It's
the
a
building is,
$500,000 building.
the building's not even worth doing anything. They're not even going to insure.
Oh no,
it.
they're not going to insure anything that doesn't have a roof on it. That's facts across the board.
Okay.
Which really should come as no
Who
surprise.
says weather didn't go with that whole?
I'm shocked that they insured it up to now.
The other thing I want to throw in there, I personally would be against taking all that 110,000, whatever money's available out of the housing authority to throw it specifically on a single project. I would be against that. Only in respect that there's a lot of projects that we need to get done in this city. And I'm not opposed to spreading the wealth, so to speak. Let's put it that way. I know that the park's done a tremendous job in fundraising, but I don't want the fundraising on their back to do everything that the park needs to do. I think that some of the money that we've got needs to be spread around. I don't want to give the park 110,000. I don't want to give the city 110,000 for a single project. That's just my opinion. Spread it around, do with it what we can that's best overall for the city. Improve everywhere we can with that. That's just my thinking, but you guys decide. If you want to throw it all in one project, that's what we're going to end up doing probably. But I mean, if we do, we do. But
I mean, if it's a worthy project, then it's worth the cost. And I'm not saying it has to be a park thing either. I'm not throwing that on the table. But I mean, that's awesome because we do take a lot of money from people, and I
I'm
always feel
thrilled that I
bad.
want some of that.
I know Brett is absolutely going to disagree with that.
And Tim
I just
said-
think this is a waste of time because it's not going to give us what we really need for that building. As far as I do think we should get I mean, I've been up for getting some kind of engineering report or a construction. I mean, you don't have to have an engineer. You can use contractors and they'll come in and tell you. But I don't think this would even spit at it, to be honest.
Some of those people that
I was
want
gonna,
From what I
I
just
started to say that. I don't think we've gotten the reports yet from the Brownfield people that were out here, have we?
and that's
No, we
I
haven't,
haven't
and that
been
is on
getting-
the,
I have
that's
not-
true.
I have not seen anything from them
I
yet.
haven't either.
So we don't even know what their
That's
opinion is
true.
of that building across the street at this point. So how are we gonna get a grant ready by March 31st?
That is
I don't
true.
see that happening.
Yeah, I just
Yeah, and they're supposed to help with all that.
I do think we have to
KSU tab or
be
whatever, so.
proactive because if we're ever going to go for a grant, at least for any of the things that we really want to have, we have to do it ahead of time. We have to get the quotes done ahead of time and then start actively going after things.
Okay, and I just want to throw this out there. I have a contact with the county that has access to grant money. So everybody that's got projects in mind, before you start fundraising or doing whatever you're going to do to try to get that money, get with me and let me get a hold of these people and see if there's not something that they can do for us as well. And if they only got us $1,000, that's still $1,000 closer to getting it done than not having any money at
Who
all.
are you talking about?
Pardon me?
Who specifically are you
Holly
talking about?
Boyce. She's a grant writer that was hired by the Flint Hills Regional Council specifically to do grants for Wabunsee County. And right now, Eskridge is a hot spot for them to get things done.
And she
They've
has
got a
CDBG
huge interest in
experience, I
Eskridge.
believe.
I'm sorry,
We've
what?
been
She
hearing
has
that,
CDBG
but I haven't
experience.
seen.
Yes.
So they were filling a role.
We've been a
didn't have
hot
before.
spot
Yes.
for a minute, and I ain't seen nothing.
And she is,
I think a lot of that,
a lot of
rests
that,
with us.
a lot of that has to do with us. Exactly. You're exactly right.
And
We've got to
Is
They're
get,
letting us know about
Does this
stuff.
Yale grant require the, oh my God, I can't remember the name of it. The thing made to go door to door. What's it called?
Automatic
LMI.
income.
LMI.
No,
This
mine's-
doesn't, no.
Okay, that's the other
The
thing.
state's doing a lot of these grants, the HEAL grant, the SEED grant, and they're very short time turnarounds. And I don't know, what I was told, I guess my insider said that the governor is very big on historic buildings. So this is like kind of the time they're going to be throwing a lot of money to especially like rural communities that have dilapidated old buildings here coming up. So
Yeah.
I
They
think
also
we
Does she have
said
have
plans
that
to attend the symphony that'll be here this year?
I don't know.
we need to
Does she?
decide
I
what
have
our
no idea.
plan is.
I don't know.
I'm sure.
The last governor did, so I'm just.
that's something I think we
It's
should.
not, tickets have tickets gone on first half? No, in March.
March.
It's $95 for an adult, $50 for a child.
When is it?
Where you can volunteer.
All tickets must be purchased online.
Posted
They
in
will
places where we
be-
can't afford the tickets.
We're gonna go to it?
Yeah.
March
There's
4th
stuff
at
here.
10
It's money
o'clock.
too.
March 4th at 10 o'clock. Tickets go on sale.
Oh,
There will be roughly 7,000 people driving through Eskridge.
We need to discuss
Yes.
that on the next meeting. We need to
So
put
we
it on
need
the
to set up a
agenda.
toll bridge? Is that-
Yes, yes.
In order to drive by our historic park, you must pay $2.50.
Wait, let's do the
So we
math
need to
on
put that on the agenda for next.
To view our
13th.
It's our temporary
historic
Eskridge Turnpike.
restored.
$5, man.
Gazebo.
$5 a car. There you go. We'll make some fundraising
Vendors.
money.
Oh, okay.
Kevin,
13 symphony.
I mean, that's per person, I
Okay.
guess.
Hey, listen,
Yeah, they were like a fundraiser.
Okay, seriously now, I'm with you, Annie, about getting going with the engineer.
Yeah, we need to know
We
what
need
we're
it.
doing with it before we start trying for something. Because otherwise, it just sounds like we don't have a clue. What we're
Kramer still your guys' engineers?
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is really in their wheelhouse.
Yeah,
or not.
they're
They
not
seem to
really.
be more of a not less construction and more kind of public infrastructure.
Yeah.
Water. That stuff seems to be their wheelhouse, water, sewer. But
What about the people that you guys, the park?
We've used an architecture and engineering firm out of Manhattan. They were really good. They were really happy to
I'll get with Janet tomorrow or Wednesday and find out if they have any resources as well.
Okay, I do have an engineer. The lady that did our park design, her husband's an engineer, so we've had that one kind of in the pocket. We just haven't worked with him yet. So he'd be another option for trying to get an idea for.
So watch for an email from me when I get that information. I'll let you
Okay.
know.
Thank you.
Okay, I've asked Stephanie to put on the agenda for March 13th to discuss the vendor situation possibility for the Symphony of Flint Hills event coming on January 10th. We'll get with the park people if you guys want to do something for fundraising as well, okay?
We have
For
something
yourself.
that
Pardon me?
we've been talking about it. We plan on
Doing something, okay. I
Yeah.
think it should be a coordinated effort though.
Cool. Yeah. I have music vendors.
I'm not opposed to having vendors lined up
Food.
from Main Street all the way down to the park. Not opposed to that at all.
While you dig them all up, because that's all.
I will help. I will do what I can to help you bet. I
June
will.
10th. Yeah. So we are gonna have a little Eskridge Symphony Day celebration ourselves. You know, for those of us who cannot afford.
You know, I always
$95 a
volunteer. So
Absolutely.
But you can volunteer and usually then be able to see the show for free.
Really, Brett will be over at the symphony.
I'll be there with a byway anyway. So
Actually, I'll be in it.
Okay, shall we move on? Julie, you have something you wanted to say?
I had a quick question. I'm gonna need new pamphlets for the lake, and it didn't dawn on me to bring this up earlier. You know, the brochures that we hand out to people.
Yes.
If you guys are gonna raise the boat prices, need to get on that because I'm gonna need these, you know, 1st of April.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
So
It's still winter.
I
People are already calling. Okay, that was another thing.
Seriously,
People are
we're
already
dying.
calling to get on the lake, which I hope this is accurate. I have sold a couple fishing permits solely for them fishing off of the shore. That's okay, right?
I didn't know we had
Boating.
fishing permits that
Did you
said
do
you
it
make
through the-
shore or boat.
No, it's just a
Well, a fishing permit, you just have a
She
fishing
just
permit,
does
but you
it.
don't have a permit to put your boat on the
Use
water,
the app?
basically.
Or
No,
just
no,
receipt?
I just a receipt,
Okay.
just FYI.
Right. No, that's fine.
There's been 2, but there have been people already calling, wanting to get their boats on the lake.
Yeah.
Just,
They can get it on April 1st.
are they
right?
people that live? Are they residents? I mean,
no,
do they not
most
know
of them
our?
are not, most of them are people, I think fishermen look for lakes
We're not
around
gonna
or
need
something because it seems to be like a lot of fishermen that are calling. Like from Manhattan area,
There's a
Yeah.
lot of late winter, very early spring fishing that goes on.
apparently it's
before-
really good
Oh,
crappie
yeah.
season.
Oh yeah.
That's why a lot of people
Walleye.
want on.
We have walleye, they'd be out there looking for that.
But anyway, I was just saying,
August.
and there was a couple of other things on the website that needed changed. I thought Mary Jane maybe talked to you about that.
Not yet. She
No.
has not.
I don't remember what it
Well, there were other corrections to that flyer too. So basically, if we all just read that flyer and if we see any corrections, bring it to the next meeting so that they can be corrected.
Do the same thing, Julie.
My major thing was
I'll email it.
that if you guys are gonna raise the boat prices, they need to be on a new pamphlet, and then we need to know so we can make the adjustments through that.
They probably ought to get their boat permits now before we do decide whether or not we're gonna raise the rates.
No, they may not get the boat permits until April 1st,
Correct.
I mean, they can't buy a permit now
No,
because why?
because I'm the only one that knows how to run Astra,
Hmm.
and I'm not working yet.
Sounds like a loss of money to me, loss of revenue. All right,
So is that-
They'll come in April 1st.
I don't know how much revenue you think it'll be lost if you're gonna thinking of
I
opening
think
it up
Stephanie only
and
sold
paying
like
somebody
4 or
to stay
5
out
last
there.
year before.
no, I'm not saying a thing about opening the place up, just like a fishing license. Somebody can buy a fishing license and we don't and while they get out there on the lake and fish. Somebody, if Jerry wanted to get on the water right now with his boat, he'd permit right now.
He has nobody to inspect him or to let him on the lake.
Already on
It's
the lake.
closed.
He's already on the lake.
No, his boat's in storage.
My boat is in storage.
All right, so whose boat's out there at the lake that's not in storage? Let's pick on
There's
those
quite a
people.
few, though.
Quite a few of those. Yeah.
And my boat comes out of storage on the 15th, and I was hoping to put it on the lake thing.
Well, and that's something else to take in consideration. The people that have bought a boat permit last year and they have their boats on their docks, they are getting not really special, but kind of special privileges that they could drop it right now in days and be getting out on the water, and nobody else has that privilege of doing that.
So it sounds to me like our permit should be running from maybe perhaps April 1st to March 31st instead of January 1st to December 31st.
Yeah, we've had that conversation before, and I've liked that idea in the past. I think it makes sense.
That's for a future discussion, though. That's not on our agenda tonight.
Right. I was just,
Well, what is it?
There's only one more thing on it.
I don't know, this has been fun.
Nothing.
One more thing on the
Let's
agenda.
talk about it.
The only thing I see,
Pit bulls.
the pit bull
You're gonna have a little
code.
list.
Pit bull
Bull code. Okay, here we go. Discussion
Todd
was had about repealing that, but I looked at the code and I wanted to, there's some clarity that has to be addressed. Right now you have essentially two different vicious creatures code sections. 2-117 is vicious animals. That's not vicious dogs specifically, it's just vicious animals. So it could be an angry ostrich or other creature, but if it has some provisions for, a complaint and, muzzling and destruction of vicious animals. It's kind of limited though. The actual good dog ordinance is Article 3, 2301, and that's where the pit bull dogs are. 2303 is the keeping of pit bull dogs. So what you can do is really actually 2303 to 2304 is likely, well, it's just referring to pit bulls. And the penalty sections in 305 are pretty robust to fine not less than $100 and not more than $400. What I'm saying is essentially some places that has a separate pit bull ordinance, it's over here that you just repeal and it's gone. This one, if you repeal it, you kind of take out the center section of vicious dog ordinance. So what I really need to do, if you're wanting to get pit bulls out and just have vicious dogs, then probably need to reorganize that chapter.
Let me ask you this, if I can interrupt you for a minute. If you took out the pit bull code, would the same apply to pit bulls?
Yeah.
Under 2117 vicious animals?
Well, yeah, but if you look at that, it's kind of a weak provision. It doesn't give a fine. It only provides for the destruction of the animal. It doesn't provide for a fine.
So
If you look
we'd
at,
have to
if you
adjust
compare it to 2305, which has a whole paragraph about the penalty. What you really want to do, I think, is what you want to do is revoke 2303, rewrite the introductory sections of 2304 and 2305 so that it all matches kind of a uniform, what I would say, vicious animal type ordinance again, and just do away with 117. Because once you get the vicious dogs thing really lined out like it is in 301 and just clean that up, you got a pretty robust ordinance there for the vicious dogs. And
Which the vicious dogs ordinance is put into. I did a little bit of research, so I'm just learning by off what I can remember I said. But having a pit bull ordinance helps not have the situation happen, and having a vicious dog ordinance deals with after the vicious attack.
Mm-hmm.
So one is pro making sure that the situation doesn't ever happen, and the other is dealing with the situation after it happens. Correct?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, isn't the pro ordinance basically toothless? I mean, so if they were to actually take you to court and, you'd have to have some kind of a DNA test to prove the
Yeah, and
animal's
I
pit
haven't-
bull and an expert witness and all kinds of crap.
What I think is probably the only thing you can say, I've never had a prosecution of a pit bull that was, he has a pit bull. It was always incident to an attack of some kind, maybe not serious, maybe just frightening as opposed to actual damage, but it was presaged by an attack. What the pit bull ordinance may do theoretically is that it just maybe keeps people from bringing them in. I don't think that works though. I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
Well, currently, right now, I've been watching a
Pickles in
property in
town.
Eskridge, and they've had multiple pit bulls, like dozens, over the last couple months, come and go, different colors, different things, in the cellar, in a cage, on the side. I mean, multiple dogs. I spoke with Stephanie about this last week. That owner of this property came in and lied to her and told her he has no dogs on the property. Yet I've seen multiple pit bulls trafficked through that property over the last few weeks and months. I don't know if anybody's aware of this at all. They put in a shed for dogs 3 weeks ago. I've seen 4 different sets of pit bulls in that pen. The other night when I was getting a soda, there was dogs barking in the cellar. So, you have dogs in the basement cellar. Now you have dogs in the new kennel, and you have dogs in a kennel that's on the side of the garage that has tarps all around it so you can't see it.
And you were
That's
getting,
just
you bought a soda where?
machine directly behind that house.
Where's the pop machine? That's my question. I want to know where you were when you bought it. Were you at DRB?
Where's the only pop machine in Eskridge?
There used to be one in front of the Buffalo Inn, but I don't know if there's one there or not. There's also
The only
one at the
working
car
pop
wash.
machine in Eskridge is at C&E Motors.
At the car wash. That's all you had to say. It's at the car wash. I would have known.
It's not the car
No,
wash.
it's not the car wash. It's C&E Motors.
Yeah, doesn't it have a car wash out
No,
there?
no.
Did he take it down?
That's a water fill station, not a car wash.
It used to be a car wash. It's not anymore.
Is
Okay.
it really?
Yeah.
Apparently, I just
Yeah,
made
it
that
used
up.
to be.
He
'Cause
got tired
I
of
thought I washed my car there one time.
That's what we had at our house. I didn't know you could wash your car.
The only time.
I don't know. Point I was going to try to make is,
not
you
what I
have the
thought.
pro, maybe a toothless ordinance. I guess that's up for debate, but so you have the people that are going to follow it. It's probably the types of owners that would keep pit bulls that wouldn't have the situation to begin with. Then you have the people that aren't going to follow it, and they have the types of pit bulls that, I know there's
Are going to be vicious.
the kind that are vicious because, the owners enable it or what have you. So I mean, I don't know. So I at the end of the day, is there a point of an ordinance? I don't know. I look at it like a gun-free zone myself, but
Is there a way to add
I
a
don't know.
stipulation in it that if somebody wanted to adopt a pit bull and bring one into town, that they would just have to get a approval of the dog
well, I
before?
don't think any vet would
could
do
read.
that. What's the vet?
Why wouldn't they do that?
Because it's a liability issue. Yeah, when that dog.
It's a liability. So nobody will ever do that. And we're talking about taking
Well, I mean,
liability.
all I'm saying is that I don't know that. I mean, what is he certifying? What is the veterinarian certifying?
That the dog isn't vicious and that it would
I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't do
it would
that.
pass for a non to be allowed in the city.
I would-
I mean, my fear is that we retract this. I'm just going to use this potential place up here the week after that pit bull gets loose and attacks some child in town, and we just make a decision. And I don't want to wear that.
Yeah, that's.
I don't want to wear that's sticky, and I don't want to wear that. That's me. Anybody else can wear it. I don't care, but I don't want to. That's why I was asking if we could find a place that would justify. I know there are multiple pit bulls in town right now that are wonderful dogs, and they have wonderful owners.
Mhm.
But I also know there are very questionable ones too.
Yeah,
And statistically wise, they have the highest rate for fatalities. and attacks.
I'm just going off of my general gut that says that somebody with an insurance policy won't do that, like a vet. So, it's a very difficult situation because, like I said, other cities have repealed it. Others, have trouble enforcing it. It's,
We even have trouble enforcing it.
Huh?
We even have trouble
Yeah,
enforcing
well, you guys,
it.
you don't have any ability to have, somebody investigate or
Right.
give you
We
the
don't have
information
law.
to prosecute somebody because the guy's hiding.
To me, that one's like a welfare issue. I think Sally even had questions about
Yes.
that location that you're
She
talking
talked
about.
to me about it just the other day.
But the location has gotten worse since Sally left. I mean, now they have another double bay kennel. And like I said, multiple animals have moved.
Do they even live here?
I don't think so. I only see activity there once during the day. Every time I've seen them is when I've been coming home from working a night job, and it's like midnight, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning,
I
and
think
there's
this
just
is where they kind of
lots
keep. Yeah.
of traffic at those hours at the place.
I didn't think they lived there. They pay for utilities, but
I don't see them there very often.
yeah.
And I hear lots of bark.
Mm-hmm.
And I
But as it is
gotta
right
tell
now,
you,
it stands. We can send those people those letters right now, and they have to remove every single one of those dogs. Problem solved.
You can give them a try.
Or they just ignore what they're doing now. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I have a hard time arguing with you because I mean you're not wrong, but at the same time, I mean it's hard to try to go after one breed, you know, because somebody ruined it for the next person. But
It's a rock and a hard place because
Yeah.
I'm sure we'd like to allow him to visit his dad, the one that brought it up in the first place.
Well, that's not the only one. There's people
And
in
there's
town.
people that have friendly pit bulls here.
There's
now.
multiple people in town that have wonderful pit bulls.
And you know we don't do anything about it because of that. So it's frustrating in general. So I don't know what the solution is.
I'm under that if you get rid of one, you get rid of all of them, friendly or not. So that's what our ordinance says.
Which seems
and that's what you
vastly
have to do.
unfair.
And that's
So
kind
you're
of the-
for retracting the bid.
I didn't say that. I just said I'm under the mindset that if you get rid of one, you need
It's
to get
for
rid of all of
following
them.
the rules, Brett. That's
Following the
what he's
rules
saying.
that you guys have established before I became a mayor.
So that's for keeping
You
it
will
or
hear
losing it.
a stink about that. Just FYI,
Oh, I
because
know.
there's
Like
already
what?
been people that have
We-
messaged.
About what, removing it or removing it, having to
Enforcing it?
remove their dog and
Enforcing
enforcing it?
Enforcing it.
Forcing it.
Forcing it strictly.
Yeah.
And kind of similar to what Todd talked about the last meeting.
And it's probably the law-abiding ones that are concerned about it. But there's others that just don't give a crap.
But you can't be law abiding if you have one currently.
Right?
It's the friendly dogs that he's talking about.
Well, I'm gonna say you guys can decide as a council what you wanna do.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that
if it was just a repeal of one thing, it'd probably be pretty straightforward, but you gotta kind of drop the transmission here.
Since I've been here, the one person that came to court for dog biting them was a Chihuahua. Just gonna throw that out there too.
They're
just
vicious
saying.
little
We
critters.
did
Ankle biters are mean.
make Vicky Yates get rid of her pit bull and German Shepherd that were chasing people trying to attack
They were
them.
vicious.
They were vicious though.
Yeah, they had a history. Yep.
I'm personally against singling out a particular breed though too. I think Annie just said that's rock and hard place. What do you do? Right?
I mean, there's
So what do you
lots of
tell that
mean
person
breeds.
that their child gets attacked the week after we do this and they're on
You tell them
doorstep,
right,
Terry?
right now when one of the dogs that already lives in town does it.
Gets loose.
Because, you know, I live next door to like 3, and I don't know that they were friendly. She just was very good at taking care of them. And I do think one got out one day. I mean, she was there in like 10 seconds, so I think she had a camera on him anyway. But we were doing daycare, and I was in the backyard. Of course, I was fenced in. And I was like, ooh, we're going inside now because that dog
Yes.
does not look like it
Yes.
likes us. So we went inside, and I saw her less than 5 minutes later putting that dog back. But it was pit bull. And, you know, I don't know that it was really that friendly,
And
but
what could
she's a
happen
good
in 5
dog owner.
minutes?
That was the difference. I wasn't going to do anything.
And a lot could have happened in 5
Exactly.
minutes.
So that's
And there's
my.
also German Shepherds that run loose that are vicious, right?
Mhm. And other dogs that have been out constantly.
And that's why I was asking about the vicious
So then
animal
what do you say to them,
ordinance.
Stephanie?
Hmm?
You won't be able to do
I
that.
won't.
What would you say to them?
Spit it out.
I just have a hard time with that because
I understand that.
I've
time.
only
I'm just
met
asking what
sweetie
you say
pit
to that
bulls.
parent that comes
I
in.
understand what you're saying, but I've only met, like I said, sweet pit bulls. So I just have a hard time with it.
I mean,
Been
I've seen
around?
some real mean
Do you get around?
Rottweilers.
I mean,
They scare me.
I have met way worse red and blue heeler and cow dog types than I have pit bulls. And I've heard of way more people being bit by those types of dogs. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just saying that, my sugar level must be low because I'm losing my train of thought real quick here all of a sudden.
Do we need to pack some
Pass
snacks,
them a candy bar.
snacks for you?
Yeah, we need to be prepared for this in case you
And
pass out
juice.
someday. Orange juice, chocolate.
As long as you don't know CPR, I feel safe.
I do, Terry. Lucky for you, I do. I don't think anybody
Oh,
else
we just
does.
got a volunteer. I do technically. I don't know, Terry. I might let you go.
I got a piece of candy. I got a piece of candy that says, in case of Brett, Kim will get open
He
immediately.
gets a mint. Is that for him or you?
Some people would stand in line for
All right,
that.
I just want to say it. Do we have a leash law in this town?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no dog is supposed to be out of control of an owner. If they're outside their enclosed encasements, such as a house or a yard, they're supposed to be on a leash.
Right.
And they have to be under the control of the owner. Right?
Mhm.
So who's at fault if the dog is not under control of the owner and they bite somebody? Is it the city because we didn't enforce an ordinance or we didn't have an ordinance covering that particular dog? Or is it the owner? What would you say, Mr. Attorney?
It's the owner's fault.
The owner's fault. Always. So the blood is not on our back because we do or do not pass a certain ordinance or because we revoked one. That's what I'm saying. It's the owner's responsibility. I'm a firm believer in that. I'm also a believer that not every pit bull is dangerous. It's the way they're raised. And I think Justin may have touched on that. You got good people that are going to raise their animal a different way. Then you got people that aren't quite so law abiding and we're going to raise them to be fighters or defenders or whatever. And they're going to be the ones that are the mean ones. But ultimately it's the owner's responsibility. I can remember as a kid riding with somebody who ran over a dog. And boy, did we get our butt chewed out because we ran over their dog, even though it was their responsibility to keep it on its leash and under control. It wasn't our fault that the dog ran out in front of us. And I've never felt guilty about dogs that got hit like that when we have irresponsible owners that don't take care of them. Any thoughts on my comments? I'm
Feel the
open.
same way about children in that scenario.
No, I
If you
mean,
were to hit a child.
no, but if you have
know,
a cow and your cow gets out of the fence and the
It's
car
the-
hits the cow, it's the cow owner that gets
Yep.
charged for it. And
Yes,
that's
it is, and that insurance company
a
will go after that person.
large loss.
and hitting
of
a
money.
child is not the same as hitting a dog.
Well, somebody's responsible for that
Yes,
child.
yes, they
So
are.
it's the
Yes, they
parents
are. But you know what? If you hit a child and killed it, if you hit a child and the child dies because you ran over it, you're going to be guilty. You're going to feel the guilt of that the rest of your life. I understand that, but it wasn't your fault. It's not your fault. Unless you, oh, here comes a kid, I better gun it so I can hit him before he gets out of the street. Then it's your fault. But that doesn't happen that way.
Watch what you're saying on this.
I just wanted to clarify that it's the
I would feel bad
it's
for
the
the
dog
child.
owner's fault and the parent's fault. That's what I wanted to get out of that.
Yeah,
It's the parent's fault and the dog owner's fault.
that is correct. I'll go along with that. Sure, I'm gonna feel
Got a
guilty if I
little
remember
dark here.
somebody's child. I'm gonna do my damnedest not to hit them. That's for sure if I see them. But if they dart out between a couple of cars, I have a clue.
World.
What?
No mercy for the pit bulls.
Oh my gosh.
That's just my personal opinion.
I think we need to move on.
His daughter just got her ear ripped off not long ago from
Yeah.
a friendly pit
No
bull.
good
6
pit
years she's been around.
See it too many times. Too many injuries. They need to be
Just
wiped
like-
out.
And who do they go after? They go after the owner or they go after the city?
Well, they go for the owner's kids and kill them. Rip their faces
First.
off.
Yeah,
16, 20, 30 stitches a shot. I mean, I don't have any use for them. Sorry. But I prosecute what I get. So, unless you guys got a direction for me, that's the story here. So if you want to remove it, we kind of got to do a little extra work, but it can be done. Or leave it as it is right now, or come up with another option.
at this time, my suggestion is to leave it the way it is. We can discuss it further another meeting or whatever, but
I'm so
I've
firmly
advocated
centered on the
one-
fence that I'm kind of just leave it as the way it is too, and not make a change. But that's where I'm at. I don't know. What's up?
I want to change it, but then I just keep thinking of a bad situation in my head.
Yeah,
Because, like I said, I absolutely adore several pit bulls that reside in this town right now, and many that have lived here happy lives. So I don't know. But
that, you know, what you're saying is the exact pitfall of the city council and the mayor, not only in this town, but every other town across the country. They have to make tough decisions on what they think is the best interest of the city. It's not any different than that rope swing out there that's still hanging.
is
Everybody
it?
wants to leave it. Yes, I went by there the other day.
How long was the other day?
Like day before yesterday. So Saturday.
in this case, inaction already has some, city code associated with it. So we're just saying leave it as is.
We jump out on the pit bull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I mean, yeah,
You
out
could,
there.
you could have some
inaction,
discretion in this. If
Yeah.
somebody wants
I
to
don't
give
mind
the facts
that. My
about the
kid's birthday's March 4th.
property, then that's something we can do.
Mhm.
We don't look the other way for
Soar's a summer baby.
nice pit bulls.
Which is what we've been doing. We've even
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, be
Selective enforcement.
Yeah, be
I think it's prosecutorial
In June, we
discretion.
were late on his license,
Okay.
so we'll have to wait a little bit. before he can
what did you
drive,
say?
but-
Prosecutorial discretion.
I like
I
that.
have it, you don't.
He has it.
So you don't have the responsibility. My kid's running out of it, not yours.
well said.
On that,
On that note,
I move to adjourn.
Hold on.
No, you can do it next week when Tim's here and y'all do this 10-minute long airing
I
of
just wanted to give a
grievances.
shout out to the city employees
Okay,
that put
you're allowed
the
then.
gravel
Fine.
on Mineral Street. It's great,
Shout out.
Listen,
and
it is now.
it's fixed, and nobody's going to bottom out their vehicle anymore. So I much appreciate it.
at the under by the church.
Yes,
Oh.
it looks a
The
whole lot,
rough.
looks a whole lot
Fabulous.
better, and yeah.
Yay.
Oh my god, a compliment.
And they've also
I feel
got,
He
confident.
does do it occasionally.
they also have got the gravel spread on that second tier at the lake too.
Yes, that looks good too. Stephanie, can you
So you
add
didn't need a second.
city
or-
cleanup for Eskridge on the next meeting's agenda?
Yes. Well, yeah. Yes.
A dumpster like we've done.
Yes.
before.
This looks like a good meeting to skip, doesn't it?
I second you.
Just bring his hot tub over there.
So I got a motion to adjourn in a
Stuff
second.
is last.
Yep.
Those, any discussion? All
Just
in
would have
favor?
waited.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
I don't know why you asked.
I do want to do this, but I
Go
can't.
out.
Oh my gosh.
Got one more job to do.
I got some files for you if you want to figure out how that was run.
I'm gonna have to email.
No,
about
I
that
don't wanna
on
know.
the thing
Yeah.
there.
I wanna see it.
What's that? Oh yeah, I can show you real quick.
Stand behind what I said.
Just go up here to view.
Stephanie, I need it.
Mode.
Oh, Becky told me
There's
to
also
send
a
reminders
property
back
here
there
in
for
town
Mary
that,
Jane.
they think the alley walls.
Hold on,
are
let me
down.
get
I wanna
this.
that checked out.
Let me turn this off.
It pops that
Do one.
I don't know the address
Yeah,
right
so
away.
it does that. Crosses out the
Yeah.
left and goes shoots. You
Just
see
look
it
up,
right there.
Let's get a GIS.
Okay, all right, I'll do that.
And then, to resolve them, you can either text it and
2021
then it goes
aerial map
back to normal or check it.
Helps.
But we just
Okay.
don't do that.
GIS
We just
map.
leave the boats there.
Yep.
That'd be my suggestion. But